music playing, and we don't do the intro, that great intro, and let's have a little music here as we get ready for Shane Matthews. Welcome to Buddy Martin Show, Melvin Law Monday, coming off a terrific day for Gator basketball, Gator sports yesterday. We'll get Shane Matthews' take. I wonder if he's thought about his Super Bowl pick. Super Bowl, my gosh, can you imagine that? Used to be, we freaked out about that back in the day. After 51 years, I guess, whatever, it's just all different. So, lots to talk about tonight, though. The progress making what we're reading about. I had a piece this morning about it, talking about the basketball team helping the football team and vice versa. Want to hear from you tonight. It's a cold night out. We'd like to hear your thoughts always. So, why don't we just go about getting that done right now, and we'll go get Shane Matthews and start the program tonight here on the Buddy Martin Show. And not too bad in Northwest Florida. How's the weather, Shane?
It was like 50 something today. It wasn't too. It was nice outside.
Not too bad, right? Yeah. It was been brutal for everybody. Amount of snows. I got a picture from Ocala. They showed the courthouse square where it was just snowing like crazy. And I thought, this can't be right. So I asked Brendan, "Is this AI?" And he said, "Yes." It looked like it was a big snowstorm. You don't know what to believe anymore, Shane, when you see things on the internet, right?
Very true.
Yeah. All right, Buddy Martin, Shane Matthews with you here tonight, talking ball. I have to say, I watched it on TV, but I really enjoyed the game yesterday with Alabama. It had all the elements. I wrote about it today on GatorBaitMedia.com. By the way, you might want to check it out. Check out GatorBaitMedia.com and subscribe. And come on here and like and share this show. We love for you to like and share it because that helps us a lot with other people and gets more eyeballs on it. So anyway, we had a heck of a game yesterday. I know you watched it, and it had all the elements. First of all, just the whole undercurrent about Alabama having a quote unquote illegal player. And you can say what you want to about that, but it smells to me like that guy shouldn't come for the G League and come back to play anyway. And then the comments that Golden let slip out here recently about we're going to beat them anyways. And then after I thought, Buttles are more material. How's that going to happen? And all of a sudden they hit the floor. And I'm telling you, could you have a better defensive game than Ruben Shinaloo?
No. The one sequence he had that caused a shot clock violation, just him by himself, was phenomenal. I personally thought, this is Todd Golden's fourth year, right?
Yes.
I thought it was clearly the best basketball game that the Gators have played under Todd Golden.
I think you're right. I agree with that.
Not even close. There's no comparison. I know we won the national title and stuff, but Walter Clayton kind of took that game over from the outset with the game plan that the coaches implemented, the players executing it. I think it was clearly the best basketball game I've seen the Gators play under Todd Golden.
I agree. And I mean, complete domination every facet. If you look at the numbers, I'm not a big numbers guy, but I can understand when you turn the ball over only 2 times, that's amazing. And then the defensive performance by Chinaloo, and then they had a record 8 steals. The boy Kondo had a game, didn't he? He's really starting to show up now. And with those 5, and they're not even playing their best basketball. This after the game, who was it that said, we're not playing our best yet? Imagine if this team gets as good as it could be. Now, this is February. Things start happening in March Madness, although it's just February. And we'll see. A&M comes to town, I guess, next, right? And they're pretty good. But this basketball team, in terms of the eyeball test, you're absolutely right, Shane. That's as good as they can play.
Yeah, I think we go to A&M, if I'm not mistaken, and they lead the league in at the top of the league. They're 7-1. They're going to have some trouble with our size. They're the smallest team in the SEC. But they run a style of play. They press the entire game called buckyball.
Yeah.
High school. He was a high school coach probably 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Sanford hired him, and now A&M. Phenomenal. He'll be the coach of the year probably in the SEC and deserves it. But we have some rest now. We have this is the week off, so the bye week kind of in basketball and play Saturday.
Yeah, it certainly is. Yeah, thanks, folks. Go ahead and log on here and like and share this program. It would be very big help. Don't forget Shane Matthews every morning. He has put up with Matthews. Who'd you have on this morning? What did you talk about? I missed it.
I had JC and Mike Morgan on.
What did Mike have to say about the Gators?
He got to watch it because it was a Sunday game. He called the Georgia A&M game. He thought it was one of the better games they've ever played as well. You know, I thought they had a phenomenal game plan just because our big guys are better than theirs. And they just, you know, we had 70-something in the paint points. That's a little
72 points. That's unheard of.
It's a little misleading, though, buddy, because Boogie Flan had multiple steals.
He did at 8, I think.
Breakaways, right? Which those end up being in the paint points.
Okay.
Hawk had a couple of breakaways, but it was just domination. Their big guys are very average, and our plan was just to take it to them.
Well, but, you know, 2 turnovers, you know, if that were a scrimmage, that would be good, you know. 2 turnovers is what you call taking care of the basketball. And you get that combination and with the great rebounding team we know they are, you know, and the domination of Chandler, like you said, that one defensive performance. I heard one of the guys, was it Vitale or something, said, best defensive player in basketball as they were going along, whoever it was said that. And he has quickly earned that reputation. So now, how good are these guys and how long can they last? I still love, I've said this from day one, I love watching Tommy Houff. I just think he's such a joy. Why he can beat you, he can take to the hole, he can shoot the 3. He's so quick to the basket. He's a wonderful player to watch, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's skilled, man. I thought he was extremely skilled last year, and he's just getting better. But he's by far our best basketball player.
Yeah. Someone asked about threes. Well, there were enough. I mean, I talked to Franz. He'll be on later. He said, "Don't worry about the threes. Threes will be fine." Mm-hmm. And if you take it, there's some teams that, like Arizona, doesn't shoot any threes. They're number 1 team in the country. Now, there's no question that Kondo has to get better, and he has.
No, he doesn't need to shoot a 3.
Not a lot. He doesn't need to, but if he's going to shoot him, he's got to get better.
I would tell him, and I think they've told him.
Probably.
He only shot 1. I think they've told him, do not shoot again. There's no reason for him to shoot him.
Did you see the move he put on this guy in the post when he went to his left and back to his right? And before the guy knew it, he was at the basket. It was so quick for a big man, you know, he was really quick. And I just love that move. Do you think Florida's big man coach is as good as there is?
Yeah, Carl Hartman's very good.
Yeah, I keep hearing he may be getting a job someplace else, but somebody's coaching him up awful well, those big guys. And now the guard plays better, Shane. Much better, I think, don't you?
Yeah, I love our guards. I know a lot of people. They do a lot of things that if you don't really know a lot about basketball, don't show up. Boogie Flan is an elite defender. Elite. And he's doing a great job running the point, in my opinion. He almost had a triple-double without the rebounds. You know, he had 8 steals. He tied a school record.
Yeah.
And I like Xavier Lee, too. I think he's extremely athletic, more athletic than people think.
He's gotten better.
But, you know, do they need to shoot better? Yes. Will they shoot better? Who knows? Who cares? You know, if they protect the basketball, I think we had 2 turnovers, and we played.
That's right. 2
we played faster than I've ever seen us play. I don't know. That was probably part of the plan as well. I think this team's very good. They'll probably lose a couple more games in the SEC, but it doesn't matter to me. I think they go deep in the tournament.
They're 17th in the AP poll, which is just fine. Let them be 17th. They don't need to be up there too high. That's they're a top 8 team, certainly, if not a top 4 or 5. But the poll doesn't catch up to them yet, and that's fine. Let them come from down there. By the way, they out-rebounded Alabama. Not even a great night, but a good night, 44-34, including 15-9 on the offensive boards. That's where they're amazing. The outscored Alabama in the paint, we said 72-26 and 26-3 on fast breaks. So anyway, I want to talk for a second about the importance of the optics of seeing Jon Sumrall sitting next to Todd Golden and being a part of the whole game and going there and showing up with pizzas and taking them outside to the kids. I heard more people talking about that. So impressed with the fact that this is something that Billy could never quite do in connecting. He barely showed up at the games if he even went. And now you can see that this guy, Sumrall, wants to be in it. And after the game, there was some interesting things and really high praise from Sumrall, from Golden about Sumrall's involvement. You think that'll help things?
Oh, I don't know about any of that. Here's what I'll say about Jon Sumrall. And like Billy comes from that Saban tree where they got to work till the freaking 4 a.m, can't do anything else outside of football. I think Jon Sumrall, just from what I've seen since he's become our coach, he's very confident, and I like that. As you said, he took pizzas to all the rowdy reptiles out in the cold. He sat in Hugh Hathcock's seats right there by the Gator bench.
Mm-hmm.
He was very involved. You can tell he likes to compete. He loves sports, right? And it was good to see him there. And he's been busting his tail, if you follow him on Twitter, the last couple of weeks, going to all these schools because he's the new Gator coach. And, signing day is Wednesday. I don't think we're signing anybody.
One guy, I think.
Yeah, but he's introducing himself because I have a lot of friends that are coaches, and I do a lot of business in the state of Georgia with high school coaches.
Yeah.
And about not just him, but about 3 or 4 other assistants, they did a little caravan through a lot of the main schools in South Georgia. So those coaches know who he is and who the staff is. So he's pushing all the right buttons. There's no question about that.
I want to tell you, I heard you on the Rob Brown show, SEC Sidelines, and you were really good as a guest. I think you should do more of those shows. Now you talked about your growing up, and you really were, Shane. It was enjoyable, to hear your take on things. And they asked you some good questions, and you responded, and you talked about it very, very forcefully. So that was great. By the way, there's a sort of a championship genes, as my friend calls the thing going on here. You know about the connection with Urban. Sumrall, even before he took the job, he talked with Urban. He talked about it this week. And he said to Urban, I kind of feel like I'm talking to myself 20 years ago. And Sumrall laughed. He said, can you say that again? He says, I heard it, but I want to hear you say it again. Because obviously they're a lot alike in that regard. They like to hit and play hard. And Urban had bloody Tuesdays. I know there's some your coach didn't like to do, but Urban did. And so there's something about this guy. He's got spunk, gets moxie. He gets it. I think he resonates with the kids, the students. I think he resonates with the boosters. I can't wait to see him now turn it loose on the field. And I read a little bit more about his quarterback situation. And it looks like they know what they want to do, as Coach Murray says. And I really, really like what I'm hearing about them. And I know that you followed it pretty closely. Have you got any more reports on the quarterback situation so far?
No, they're gonna battle it out in the spring. And I've heard Coach Sumrall in some interviews or maybe read it somewhere. He says, they're going to the guys battling for quarterback are going to decide who the quarterback is by their performance.
That's correct.
And that's all that matters. And
I like that.
I like both of them, man. I tell you, they both can throw the football the way I like it. I think the fans are going to be excited, and it should be a good spring because there's going to be a lot of competition in a lot of positions.
Yeah, I'm hearing a little more about Faulkner's take on Philo. He says he's a really accurate passer. And he says he loves how he takes the ball and fires it quickly out in a hurry. He said, quote, here, and he's recruited him before, He said, quote, he's as accurate as any kid I've ever been around. He says his pre-snap acumen is really good. And Tramel Jones, by the way, he also recruited him at some point, he says he recruited Tramel Jones at Georgia. Of course, as you know, he was there. Faulkner was. He said because of his, quote, extreme arm talent, unquote. I haven't heard that phrase used before. Have you about him?
I mean, it depends on what people talk about arm talent. I guess it can be defined multiple ways. He throws extremely catchable football. He can make all the throws. So if that's arm talent, that's my definition of arm talent, and knowing how to use your arm, right?
Yeah.
Not throwing it 100 miles an hour on a slant route,
right,
and it bouncing off the guy's hands. And people say, "Well, his hands touched it; he should have caught it." No. Throw the ball where it's easy to catch.
This is basketball. Larry Bird said that was one thing why he was a great passer. He gave you the basketball where you needed to have it.
Yep.
When you're moving, it isn't like you have to turn your body. You give it to you here and you can shoot it. That's what you mean, right? Same thing. Give him the ball where he can. I'm sure you did that with your receivers. Back shoulder throws.
You try to. That talks about being accurate with it, and and if it's zone coverage and a guy's running some type of stop route or hook route, you as the quarterback know where the defenders are. So if you throw it on the right number, that means the defender's coming on the left shoulder.
Right.
So that by throwing it here, that tells your back or receiver to spin the way you just threw it off of that number. It's all about accuracy and knowing where to go with it. And hopefully these guys can do all that.
Can you I kind of know it's obvious. Can you kind of explain the back shoulder throw? A lot of times, the first time I saw it, I thought they were underthrown balls.
Well, they are. They mostly are underthrown balls because it's to the advantage of the offense. But back shoulder is it's basically just throwing a ball at the receiver. And it's usually like some people call it a two ball. Coach Bird called it a high straight ball. And you just throw it kind of at the back. Actually, you kind of throw it at the back of the defender. And then your receiver just adjusts to it.
That was a great thing you guys had it going, throwing the ball, and they let them go get it. And I love throwing the receivers open, something we could never seem to do when Billy was here. Throw them open. So, all right. So I just wanted to say that the comments I heard yesterday, this is some of the things that Golden said about Sumrall. He said, I think him and I are going to get along really well. We seem to have a similar mentality about competing, and I think we enjoy it similarly. But he's a great guy, and I'm really excited to have him lead our football program. As I've said before, he's the type of guy that we need. He has great energy. That's something we're hearing a lot more of lately. He's really happy to be here. There's something that helps. It's nice to know you're happy to be here, right? There is a difference between being in James Madison and Florida, although you would know it from some people. He thinks this is a great place where you can win championships. As I said, I see a lot of similarities in his mentality. When he got the opportunity, the same as mine. He was much more accomplished than I was when I got this opportunity. But I think he'll take advantage of it in a similar way. That's pretty interesting, huh? Sumrall talking about his basketball kind of right.
Yeah, they look. We got to wait to see. But Sumrall, regardless of what level it was, I mean, Todd came from San Francisco, right? Really small school,
right?
But he had some success, made the tournament, and Coach Sumrall has been a head coach for 4 years and played for his conference championship all 4 years.
Right.
I'm not saying we're going to Atlanta this year, but some guys just know how to win. And
Yes.
let's hope this is our next guy that can win some football games for us.
It seems like we have to do this every year. We start talking and we get excited. Well, wait a minute, they hadn't won anything yet. One of those deals. But I will say I like where we're positioned on this now. I love Todd Golden. I love the fact he's back and competing again for it this year. Those championship genes they seem to have now. And I love this guy coming in and saying, "Hey, I'm really happy to be here. I love this place." And he does because Shane, he shows up around the campus taking photographs and posting them of various sites, various places that shows he's exploring the campus to learn about where he is. Some guys act like they're just passing through as a rent-a-coach, I think this guy has gotten over that one. I really do.
Well, he's embracing it. I mean,
Yeah.
let's be honest.
Yeah.
Usually, the football coach is the most important person on campus at a school like Florida. So I'm excited. I had someone. I've still yet to meet him or anybody on the staff.
I'm surprised he hadn't already gotten a hold of you.
He's busy, man. He let him do what he needs to do. I'll go over in a couple of weeks. I've been busy as well, but I had somebody in the building text me and said all they said were, "You're going to love this crew." And from what I've seen so far,
Yeah.
I do like it.
What will you ask him, Shane? What would you like to know about him?
Oh, I'm not. I mean, he's a football
Tell
coach.
me, what would you like to know about him and his style that you don't know right now?
I really have never thought about that.
Well, can you think about it right now and say what's the one question you'd like to ask him? I had my one chance at him and had an opportunity to ask him a question about when he got knocked out of football. What do you think about that one for a second? Well, I'll go get Franz Beard, and I want to tell you about our our sponsor tonight, Smell the Law Monday. You know about the folks in Smell the Law. They do wonderful things. Don't forget, Jeffrey has a Thursday night basketball show now called Gator Hoopla with Franz Beard, where he talks with his friends. He has many on the basketball team, including the coaches and players, and he'll have plenty of Jeffrey every Thursday night. He, of course, is seen everywhere on campus. He does many things for University of Florida. They're the only official law firm for the Florida. And now he's got Carey taking over for him on the law business so he can have a little more fun. Jeffrey does like to have his fun. Good dude, does a lot of great things. Check him out if you need any law help. I would if I were you. He's a Gator, and he's a good lawyer, and he's a good guy. Bell the law. They won't back down. Let's see if this guy will come and join us for a second. I didn't see him there, but I bet he was a pretty happy camper after that basketball game, Franz, weren't you?
Yeah, there was reason to be happy. That was complete dominance. 2 ball games last week in which the Gators just totally outclassed both teams. And is there any question who's the best team in the SEC? I don't think so.
How good is A&M? I don't know.
They won a lot of ball games. They haven't played a very tough schedule yet. They got a good win at Georgia, but that's I'm skeptical about that because Georgia's been kind of reeling lately. Georgia's gone back to looking like an NIT team, but they've got to play at Alabama. And I got to tell you what, I think Alabama is going to feel like they got something to prove, and particularly against a coach who used to coach right there in Birmingham. Bucky McMillan was a high school legend in Birmingham, and then went on to coach at Samford University. And I think that he's going to feel like he's got a lot to prove too, going in there to Tuscaloosa. So should be a good ball game, but it's going to tell us a lot about both teams, a lot about Alabama and their ability to bounce back from a humiliating loss, and the ability of the Aggies to win in a tough environment on the road.
Shane, I watched it on TV yesterday. You were at the game. Shane, what did you think about Tal's presence at the game? I thought he did a good job of not stepping on and trying to overpower everybody, and he obviously was very it was a very emotional time for him. Franz said you didn't see how they brought him in a wheelchair. Franz, why don't you tell us? He brought that.
He was pretty feeble. They were lifting him out of the limo that brought him in and so forth like that, and they wheeled him in there. Dick's going to be 87 years old this year, and he's had 2 really tough bouts with cancer that have really left him weak. And he admitted there toward the end of the game, he said he misses the days when he could get up there and mingle with the college kids.
Rallies,
and he used to go to places like Duke and Chapel Hill.
Oh, they did that thing. Yeah, but those days are over with.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Shane, but I respect what he's done for college basketball. When I watched the game, I don't particularly want Vitale to be on the call. Do you?
Honestly, I didn't even listen to the game very much. I had multiple TVs going, watching golf and other things. I think Dick back in the heyday, he kind of is what made ESPN in college basketball in his prime. But there's obviously better announcers in today's world, but he's done a lot. I think a lot of people started watching college basketball due to him.
Yeah, he certainly did that a lot. He brought a lot of basketball fans, and he'll always have a special place. And it was a special moment. But, it kind of got dumbed down a little bit because it's such a big game and such a magnificent performance by these Florida Gators, Franz. I didn't see that one coming. Did you see that coming, Franz?
Yeah, I said before the game, I think Florida's going to win in a blowout. I did not see Alabama staying with the Gators at all. In fact, they may lose another ball game in the SEC. They got 9 to go, and they may lose another ball game. But if they do, it'll be like the last one, which is kind of a reset, which kind of clears the decks and gets you refocused. You got to remember, last year they lost at Georgia late season, and everybody thought, boy, the Gators, it's the end of the road. The Gators are gonna fold now. And what they do, they won 12 in a row, 3 straight regular season, 3 straight at the SEC, and then 6 straight in the NCAA. So a loss, nobody wants to lose, but it can clear the decks, clear the fog out of your head, kind of take you down a notch or 2 and make you get back to doing what you need to do well. And I think that's what the Auburn game did.
Shane, where did you come down on the Charles, how do you say it, Bediako situation, the G League player who was able to go play and then come back and play college basketball. And then there was some feeble excuse about they couldn't get the paperwork here on time because of the snowstorm, and now he played, and the story about how Coach Golden said, I don't care if he plays, we're going to beat him anyways, which became a little bit of a temporary bulletin board material. Shane, what do you come down to the whole thing with Bediako? Do you think he should have the opportunity to do that or not?
No, once you leave, I don't think you should be able to come back. There are no rules right now. If they don't get anything under wraps, I could see some kids that are on practice squads in the NFL now trying to get back to play college football if they have eligibility because they're going to make more money. Bediako is a typical guy who didn't get drafted because there's only 2 rounds in the NBA draft. But just because he's 7 feet tall, they're going to take a risk on him. Somebody's going to sign a contract. He ain't very good. He's a decent rim protector, but he has nothing else. I thought the 2 big men for Alabama were overmatched skill-wise. I think they were not as in good a shape as our guys. Like I said, that was the most dominating basketball game the Gators have played under Todd Golden, in my opinion.
I said that to you today earlier, friends. I said it was the most complete game I've seen. You agree with that?
It's either that one or the one before up there in Columbia, because
But that's a
in
bad
both,
basketball team.
Bad team.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, but just the same, you double up a team in the SEC on their home court. That's doing something. But you look
True.
at this, you get 72 points in the paint, which is almost as many points as Alabama scored the entire game. And the big number to me was 18 turnovers forced, only 2 turnovers for the Gators. 25 points off turnovers by the Gators, 0 by Alabama. 26-3 on fast breaks. Florida just had it all going. That's Alabama's a good basketball team, but they look like they were, the high school JV.
Franz, did Todd mention, or did anybody ask Todd? I thought that was the fastest paced basketball game we've ever played under him. I know we like to push the ball here and there, but I don't remember us ever pushing the basketball like they did in this game. And I don't know if that was part of their plan or what.
Well, I think it started on the defensive end. When you're getting the defense that they're getting and you're able to get the ball out. And you got to remember something. When in our starting lineup, we got 4 ball handlers in the lineup. So, and Rubin can even handle the ball to an extent. But Hawk and Condon can get the ball off the boards, put it on the deck, and take off and start the fast break. You don't have to kick the ball out to the guards to get the break going. And that reminds me of Noah and Horford back in the day. People don't remember how quickly we transitioned from defense to offense because of that. And these guys were getting the rebounds. They were kicking the ball out. They were putting the ball on the deck. And then Alabama is in a press situation. And as the rest of the league and the rest of the country is going to figure out, you cannot press the Gators, period. They have the great release guys in Hawk and Condon. They get the ball into one of those guys, and they can either turn and dribble it up the court, or they get it back to Boogie or Xavier, and it's over. You're not going to take the ball from the Gators. You cannot press this team.
Interesting. I wanted to ask you, we're going to bring our friend Kevin Brockway in just a minute. Interpret the comments. I didn't quite understand the context. Nado's complaining about Florida playing in the paint and getting extra time with the paint. The quote was, he said, I think he said part of the game, when you can sit in the lane for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds at a time, it helps you offensively. Franz, was that blatant?
He was hoping that the Zebras would pay closer attention. And maybe there are 2 or 3 times in a game when your guys are in the lane too long. 3 seconds is rarely called. I think I've seen 3 or 4 3-second calls all season long, period. And it's never called. And what he's just trying to do is he's trying to, get the officials to pay attention to what's going on close by. I think he was more trying to get them to focus on what's going on in the paint, hoping to get over the back calls or something like that. That's what I believe he was trying to do. Didn't work either way because we didn't have to go over the back. We just had total position on them, and their guys couldn't stick with our guys rebounding the basketball.
Yeah, I just say good evening to Kevin Brockway. I think his pros are so active in there. There's such great rebounders. There's 2 and 3 guys going for the ball, and they keep their feet moving. I think. What do you think, Shane? You think they're in there a long time in the paint or not?
I mean, I don't know when the last time I saw 3 seconds called. So if they ain't going to call it, it's just like holding, right? Hold till they call it.
Good point.
I'm sure we're in there at times, maybe a handful of times during a basketball game. Look, again, the front court of the Florida Gators is 1,000 times better than the front court of Alabama. It's that simple. The plan was we are going to attack their bigs with our bigs, and they don't stand a chance.
I love his response, Kevin. Good evening to you when he said, "Yeah, it's usually 1, 2, and then we make the bucket."
Yeah, kind of comical there. But Bediako, for about the first 15 or 20 minutes, he battled with Chinyalu, and they were letting a lot go. But you could see by the second half, he was just dog tired, and Chinyalu wore him out. And I think that, that was really Alabama's only chance. And, one thing I've never respected about Nate Oates is he doesn't coach a lick of defense. And, Franz, I heard your point earlier about the pressing or whatever. I think you could press Florida if you have guards that want to press them. Alabama's guards don't have any sense of urgency when it comes to pressing. It was just more like a token press than anything else. They've consistently given up 100 plus on Florida. That's no accident. It's just they don't have a good defensive game plan. They're just not a grinding team. They just want to run up and down the court with you. And that, always plays into Florida's hands. And that's why Todd has had such a good record against Nate, particularly when the talent has balanced out in the last couple of years. So, listen, give Florida credit because, only 2 turnovers in a game. It's hard to do that against air.
Yeah, really.
But I do think also that Nate Oates' defensive coaching ability has left a lot to be desired. I think he's a joke of a defensive coach, and that's why his teams, he got to one Final Four, but that's why his teams lately have more often petered out in the tournament because they don't play a lick of defense.
Well, see, I think their press isn't so much designed to get steals and stuff like that, but to make you pay at a faster tempo, which results in your mistakes and free flying the ball flying around all over the place. And Florida handled the press perfectly, didn't turn the ball over, and was able to continue to play at a pace that wore them down. You're right though, Kev. They're not exactly. They remind me of me when Coach Garney Hatch said, "You're the worst defensive player I ever coached."
Let me get Shane out of here, but while we're all here, I want to get back to another subject and repeat what I said earlier, because I had a lot of my friends tell me the optics of watching the basketball game and all the stuff that was so fun for Gator fans to watch. It was like I said, it was a great day to want to be a Florida Gator. Watching what they were doing, and when the presence of your football coach being sitting there next to the basketball coach, these guys together, you realize what 2 young dynamos this program has got. And of course, one has proven itself. That's Golden. But it looks like they're cut from the same cloth. They talked about it. They talked about each other. They like each other. I love the pictures of Sumrall being Sumrall being out there handing out pizzas to the freezing fans and students. That was great. And then watching him do the basketball game and Sumrall getting involved there with Hugh Hathcock, it was optically, my friends thought it was great. What did you think, Kevin?
Yeah, no, I kind of agree. Billy Donovan used to do that back in the day, pizza and donuts, and I kind of like that little touch that Jon is, a little outreach. I think that helps. I think that that'll probably, not saying that the swamp is never full, but getting more students there and so forth. That's always a nice touch. And Todd talked about, listen, Jon Sumrall is going to bring, I think a certain energy and, as we've mentioned before, toughness to this football program, and some as a guy you can kind of rally around and be inspired by, and I think that's the positive. Now the results have to show on the field for sure, he's got to prove he can do it at this level because the SEC is different than the American, but and the Sun Belt, but. I think, certainly, in the preseason, certainly this honeymoon period, he's doing all the right things to ingratiate himself with the Gator fan base.
All right, fans, and then I'm going to let Shane go get his milk and cookies. The presence of him being there, the basketball and football coach side by side, What was that like? You were not. You were at the game. We were watching on TV.
Oh, I thought it was great, and obviously, it didn't go unnoticed by people. I mean, and that's the thing. The optics of it are great. That your football coach and your basketball coach, the two most prominent programs on the campus, the coaches are very, very much in tune with each other and supporting of each other. So I think it's good optics. Of course, Todd's proven something, and Jon Sumrall's still got to prove something. But it doesn't hurt to attach yourself to a guy that's already proven it.
Yeah, Shane, my friend Randy, who's a real big basketball fan, goes to every game. He called me today and he started writing about it. I said, well, I said, I'm going to write about, I think I'm going to write about these two coaches being side by side, kind of like forming a brotherhood there and how that impacts. He said, I was going to tell you everything else you were going to write about was fine, but that was a story to me, was seeing those guys together. So I think it does have an impact, long lasting. And so maybe that winning is a universal thing. Shane, you want to tell us you go on the show tomorrow morning?
Buddy Martin, the award-winning guy from the Buddy Martin Show.
Hey, you know what? I just thought of something. These guys are here. I wrote it off the top of my head column yesterday about David.
I can't hear both.
Second thing, the Washington Post now just weeks may not have anybody cover me. It's painful. I had no idea I would get the unbelievable reaction I've gotten from people, especially on the newspaper guys. Said, I'm so glad you said it. As we've all been thinking. I'm talking about guys in Boston, Chicago, different places who just so I had no idea that anybody cared like that. But obviously people do. I guess those older guys especially. So it was one of those from the heart, and I'm glad some people responded to it. And it does matter whether you have a sports section or not. All right, Shane, I'll see you in the morning. Thank you, man.
All right, fellas. Good night.
Shane Matthews.
Good night, Shane.
Matthews. All right, friends, I want to get back to the atmosphere of the place there yesterday because it had to feel special. Kevin, you were there too, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Talk about what it was like at O'Connell Center, the feelings that you got, the responses from the Rowdy Reptiles. And I asked about the Vitale situation earlier, if you could tell if it mattered or whatever. Any thoughts you have on that, Kevin?
Yeah, Dick and I talked on Friday. He still calls me up, asks for advice on the team, which was really nice, and mentioned some things on the air, which was really flattering. And of course, I had some friends text me and so forth. But he came away obviously tremendously impressed with the front court. I told him a lot about the guards, and then I told him that I thought Alex was just kind of pressing a little bit, to try to maybe be what he's not with the NBA scouts. And then he turned around, he had that great breakout game, which is what I wrote about, was that he got back to being himself, I thought, in that game. Yeah. But, it was great to have him there, 86 years old. I wrote about him. He's really been through the ringer the last 5 years with a lot of his cancer treatments, almost lost his voice, as because he had, cancer in his vocal cords. He's been through a lot, and he is really more determined than ever to continue to raise money for cancer. He's raised $105 million, and his goal is to get above $120 million as next gala in Sarasota in May, which is, it's really amazing what he has done for pediatric cancer research. Very active in the state with Moffitt. And it was just great having him in the building and for him to get that kind of applause. I know we talked a little bit post game. He really appreciated that. And that was probably his first game back in the O-Dome in about 4 or 5 years since he started his cancer. Yeah. So it was nice to have him back. And, he's been a guy over the years that I've known in my years covering basketball, is someone that I consider, a good friend, and very flattered to have a friend of his stature.
Yeah, for sure. No, he was, I hope people will appreciate what he has done for the game. Because but back when he started, as Franz talked about the Davis thing, to put him when they do the calling up on the hands and goes with the crowd like that and all that sort of stuff. And he really brought basketball. And the
a great
fans,
ambassador for the game, but what he's done for cancer research, I think trumps that, buddy. I mean, just the money that he's raised and all the treatments that have been developed in the last 20 or 30 years, since the V Foundation is amazing.
Oh, Valvano was his good friend, and obviously that showed there. So, all right. So, in the remaining time we've got here, let's try to spread it out a little bit into the football arena and talk about what I've seen on. I'm hearing now interviews, reading on the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and it's all coming back positive. It's clear these guys knew who they wanted, especially the quarterback position. In a time of uncertainty with the transfer portal, they have a clear agenda, which I think is attracting players. I mean, how much better can they get? I think they can get a lot better in the portal, Kevin, don't you?
Well, we'll see. I mean, they are getting people that they want, but, when you look at the overall transfer class rank, it's maybe not as high as some other schools, but they're targeting the people that they feel like can fit the system right away, which will in turn, benefit them for, what they hope is going to be a quick turn, But a guy, an under the radar guy is this kid from Jacksonville State, apparently in the workouts, Obajajo, 6'6". He's up to like
that's the guy who's huge, right?
315 pounds is an edge rusher.
6'8" or something, or 6'7".
6'6". I mean, huge wingspan, probably can deflect passes. I mean, that's the guy that I think, you look at, and I know Dave Caldwell, another guy who kind of identified him, the GM, along with Sumrall, should be someone that, he's a very intriguing guy. And you have Jaden Woods, and you hope that LJ McCray bounces back. But, that kind of, and they're going to run a 3-4, but that kind of edge spot is going to be very intriguing if you can create a 3-player rotation with those 3 guys in terms of getting to the quarterback. And we've seen, certainly in the Napier era, very inconsistent getting the quarterback down. That's, one of the huge keys is to create negative plays, and you do that with pass rush.
Franz, it's going to be a running game. They're going to have to get the offensive line fixed and getting some good players in here. We know number 13 is going to get the rock a lot, and maybe a few other guys. How effective do you think this running game will be, Franz?
The guy in the middle is as important a guy as they got in the transfer portal, and that's Harrison Moore, the center from Georgia Tech. He came out as a tight end. He was an all-state Texas tight end who went to Georgia Tech, and he just kept growing. And he's like a lot of guys who started out as tight ends and things like that. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers had a guy named Larry Brown, who was from Stark, Florida, who came to him as a tight end, who ends up being a left tackle and stuff like that. You gotta have that guy in the middle, and you're replacing the best guy in the middle who's been in the SEC for the last couple of years in Trent Slaughter. So to me, that was the key. You got to have that guy in the middle. They've got some experience at the guards, and they picked up some experienced tackles too. Plus, they've got returning guys like Caden Jones, Fletcher Westfall, guys who have enormous potential that haven't really been had a chance to show it. It's going to be interesting to see how these guys mesh with the new offensive line coach. I've heard all kinds of stories about how players really had a tremendous dislike for Rob Sale. I mean, there were a lot of stories about that. And if this guy can bring some unity to that group and get the animosity away from players and the coaching staff, he'll have accomplished something. But that's where it's going to start. The offensive line's got to do better. But I think it's going to start with that guy in the middle, and I think he's a huge get for them.
Offensive line, they had 2 coaches last year, Kevin, and still couldn't quite get it done. To me, Troutwine's worth about 2 coaches. This guy can really coach, He knows the game. He plays the game. He apparently relates to the players really well. I read a story about him, how happy he was when he got to come back to Gainesville a couple of years ago. And he didn't know he would wind up coaching here, brought his kids and went down to the field in the swamp and told his kids all about what it was like that back in his day, how much he loved the University of Florida. So he got to come home, and now he's got some people he's got committed to Penn State. I think 2 or 3 of which are coming to Florida. And I think this might be the most significant hire on the entire coaching staff. Could that be true, Kevin?
Yeah, well, line of scrimmage we know is important, and we know it was inconsistent. And you think back to last year, and you think back to Slaughter, who was an All-American. Think back to Austin Barber, who was, probably a good run blocking tackle, but it just didn't mesh. And it's going to be interesting with, the holdovers versus, who you have coming in. And I saw Troutwine was quoted somewhere saying, or maybe it was on the coach's show, and he and Faulkner saying basically that, all 5 spots are open. So I think that's going to be, it's going to be interesting to see. I know that, there's been talk of moving Caden, Jones to the left side. I know that Westfall is a guy that hasn't really stayed healthy.
What's the deal with him? I thought Westfall had a lot of promise.
So he's got a lot of hand issues. So, I would have liked to have seen them gotten another proven tackle. But, we'll see how that plays out. And if Egan Boyer, the kid they got from Penn State, is going to be the real deal. But I think interior offensive lineman and Shanahan as well. And, obviously you have Najee Harris coming back. You've got Harrison Moore, at center. I think they did a really good job there. I just wonder the tackle position is going to be, and you got to have those guys that are going to, protect the quarterback, obviously, in the SEC.
How about the outside rush, Franz?
Outside rush, I like the guys we've got. Jaden Woods coming back was huge. LJ McCray, if he's healthy, is huge. And this young man from Jacksonville State.
Yeah.
My gosh. You're talking about that could be intimidating. You put these guys on either side in obvious passing downs. That can kind of alter some of the direction of the throws. I mean, these quarterbacks have to move in the pocket, find open areas, and these guys with that wingspan can cover a lot of that. Make it very, very difficult to throw over.
Actually, go ahead.
I like the size. I like the speed. My big concern is going to be at the nose tackle, and they got to have the guy at the nose tackle is going to have to be really, really good.
Yeah, tomorrow's National Signing Day, isn't it? Or Wednesday? I'm sorry.
Wednesday.
Like it matters, right? They're going to sign one guy, right? That right? What I hear? It doesn't matter anymore. Pretty much old hat. Can someone coach me up and explain to me now and our listeners where we stand in the portal? What's the next time the opportunity to upgrade? Is there one? How that works? Florida's roster. How many more players they can get committed? Kind of, two of you coach me up on this. Each of you got 2 minutes. Tell us what this is all about, Kevin.
You're telling me first. I hope you were going to go to France first.
Well, go to France.
I can tell you this. There's a lot of conjecture about, May and the spring semester, and if people can just leave schools and just go somewhere else, you know what I mean? Even though there's no official transfer portal in place. But technically, the roster is supposed to be set by February 5th. But, who knows?
They can't go be eligible, can
with the courts, I mean, hey, look, if Bediako can get in Alabama, maybe Florida can get some guys off some NFL practice squads in the spring.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's just so I don't want to commit to saying anything because you never know what's going to happen in the next few months. Yeah.
No one can stop them from enrolling on their own, of course. But it's not clear, friends, what this is all about. We're still not quite understand. You're telling me Florida still has a lot of scholarships to give, even though all their walk-ons now are going to be scholarship players. What's it like? How many more players can they bring to Florida?
Well, you're allowed to have 105 on scholarship. Right now, I've got about 89 or 90 veterans and rookies coming in with scholarships, and that would mean you've got somewhere about 15 or 16 scholarships to give, and whether that's to former walk-ons, which you got to have a meat squad in there, guys who are willing to take a beating to be a part of it.
I'm sorry, does that include like some of the walk-ons they got in the portal, like the backup punter and the kid from Indiana, the walk-on receiver? Does that include that in your 90 count? Or
yeah, I counted him as a veteran because I don't know whether he's coming as a walk-on or with a scholarship. I don't know.
They got 2 long snappers in the portal, right? 2 punters. What else did they get? They got,
well,
a little bit of everything. 2 kickers, and
you better have 2 of each these days and times. Yeah. I mean, my gosh, and when you expand the roster, it only makes sense. When you're at 85, you kind of had to have 1 of each, and then fill up the rest of it with walk-ons. And now you can give a scholarship and have a backup. But they've got a bad. The calendar is screwed up. The situation with NIL and stuff. I mean, Joey Aguilar is suing the NCAA now. He wants a 7th year. He played 3 years of JUCO ball. He's played like 3 years of college football, and he wants another season. 7 years. That doesn't make sense at all to me.
Please.
And of course, as desperate as Tennessee is for his quarterback, they're pushing it hard, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
The NCAA has proven toothless on all this stuff. They're clueless, and
we have the same story every week on the NCAA. It's the same story, and
we got one solution.
Fireball. Yeah.
Well, one solution is you got to start a brand new organization because the way the NCAA has opened the door for everything, if you continue with them, then the lawsuits will continue. The only way you're going to stop the lawsuits is start a new organization where you come and you join voluntarily, and these are the rules. But if you're going to have that, you also have to have a commissioner with teeth. You better have
story for another day. Story for another day, not today, but you're exactly right. Thank you, Franz. Great stuff as usual. Don't forget, you go to a copy of his books from Spurriers.com. Check out the Golden Season. And also, what you got writing, what you writing, Kevin, real quick.
I see Bill Feinberg is saying, what's the real deal on the Rashada lawsuit? But I reported on that last week. And
I saw. I didn't get a chance to read that story.
It's developing, Bill. We'll say that. Yeah. But but I got a story coming out. Do you realize that there is a Florida Gator that's going to be represented in the Winter Olympics? Aaron Jackson, graduate.
Story for another day as well, but thank you very much.
Hey, one other thing. We need
to go fast.
We need a local sandwich shop to do a Reuben double.
There you go. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you very much, Franz. Thanks. Kevin, we'll talk to you soon. Read Kevin in the Gainesville Sun. All right. And Franz and GatorBaitMedia.com. I want to tell you folks about our friends at Titan MRI and Imaging. They now have 3 locations to serve you well. They're so customer oriented. Park Avenue, 2 there, and one of the Millennium Center in the Gainesville, 1 in Lake City, serving all of Columbia County and nearby Valdosta. Titan MRI Imaging has the same great customer service they do have. They just don't say it, they do it. That means you can change your appointment to a nighttime if you can't get there in the day. They accept insurance for their convenient self-pay options. They offer CAT scans, MRIs, X-rays, ultrasounds. So check them out. Larger MRI machines for your patient comfort. I love that. You go there if you get a house, you have problems with getting into to small places. You can have patient comfort. No ERs, no hospital. Coming to Ocala soon, they'll better serve Marion County. Titan MRI Imaging. It's your choice. Thanks to our crew tonight, to Shane and Franz, and to Kevin. We hope you'll be around tomorrow night for Lauren Meadows, who is, of course, going to be low down with Lauren. It'll be good. He's always got good guests and good things. And don't forget, on Thursday night, we've also got our good friend Jeffrey Meldon, who will be joining us with his basketball show. So Hope you'll come and be here. Good night, folks.